Here it is, the Galaxy Fold 4 versus the Galaxy Fold 2. Now, you're not getting the $1,000 trade-in offer that you were getting previously for your Fold 2, but you are still getting $800. So if you are interested, link will be in the description. You can still get some of those pre-order bonuses to go ahead and trade this in for this one. Now, there's reasons why you'd want to do that, and there's also reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. We're going to talk about both of those here today. I wanted to talk about a lot of the things that I've been hearing about the Fold 4, and in reference to the Fold 2, but also in reference to other foldables as well. People disappointed in the Fold 4, saying it didn't take enough of a swing, they didn't change enough, and then they point to things like the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 and the Mi Fold 2, whatever they call it, and some of the Vivo devices, some of the other foldables that have come out. Now, and let me just explain something when it comes to that. I agree that Samsung needs more competition here in the United States because competition is a good thing and it does drive innovation. But understand this. Xiaomi for the Mi Mix or the Mi Fold 2 pre-orders sold 30,000 in that first day, I believe. Samsung for the Fold 4 sold 140,000 a day during the pre-order period. The scales that Samsung is working with is a lot more. And when you're the insurgent and you're selling less and there's less of those phones out there and there's less of a user base for the phones, you could take bigger swings and not have to worry about it. But when you're servicing an established user base and a larger population of phones, it's harder to take those big swings year after year because you're going to come up with some misses, and that's a problem when we're talking about millions of devices. But I think that the minor changes that they've made, and there's been several of them that we talked about in the first video on the Fold 4, all add up to a wholesale departure in experience from the Fold 2, which is still an excellent device, still feels amazing in the hand, still love to open it up and get stuff done. But when we talk about the differences between the two, you'll see why I prefer the Fold 4, and I do think you should be trading in your Fold 2. So let's talk about the outer display, because that's the biggest thing that people go on about. It's significantly different. It's millimeters, but I tell you, when you put them side by side, and we'll try to balance this here, just put them right there. Look at that. That's basically the metal band and part of the hinge difference on the outer display, and it makes a tremendous difference in the typing experience. And I think I saw a note somewhere that someone said that the outer display now on the Fold 4 is similar in size to the iPhone 13 mini. So there are already displays like this out there, and I agree. I've seen a lot of people say that you could go through an entire day using the outer display and not feel like you're getting gypped. Whereas before on the Fold 2, that was not possible. Too thin. When I would go ahead, if I had to use the outer display on the Fold 2 the entire day, I would be missing too much. It was too annoying to use that for an entire day. Whereas on this side, for the Fold 4, you get enough of a typing experience, you get enough of the scrolling experience, you get enough of full smartphone functionality that you could get away with. The other thing that we talked about in the Fold 4 kind of overview video was what they did with the device, the flat panel on the front itself. So you see how that's flat, and you see how the one on the Fold 2 is curved slightly, curved in here on the side. Now, that affects the outer screen functionality, which is something that's different as well. I think it's more usable when it's a flat surface. You get to use it right to the edge. But the other thing that does is that it also creates a frame that's flat and thicker. This device, the Fold 4, is a little bit thicker. It's shorter, as you can see here. We'll go ahead and line those up. It's a little shorter. It's tough to tell here, but it is when we kind of angle it properly. But at the same time, it is thicker. But I like that because it creates a way to grip it that's positive. It creates a solid feel in the hand. I found myself ripping this device open with a lot more confidence than I did my Fold 2. I always felt I had to be ginger with the Fold 2. I always felt like I had to baby it a little bit more than it deserved because of these rounded frame here that it has, where I kind of really had to be dealt. There was less area for your thumbs to really dig in there and rip open, and that certainly makes a difference in day-to-day experience and feel, because you don't want a phone that you feel like you have to baby all the time, or at least be careful when you're opening. This one feels a little bit more hardy, a little bit sturdy. You could go ahead and rip that open and not have an issue there. The hinge is also very different in feel. This is still a nice feeling hinge. It's just big at this point. They've made it thinner. They've made it a little bit sturdier when you go ahead and open it. You could feel it. This is nice. It's still smooth. It still works well. If you want to rock this for another year or two, you absolutely can. The hinge is still in phenomenal shape. It's held up great. But I like the feel and the locking action of the hinge on the Fold 4, and you will absolutely notice it right away. Parts where it starts to fall apart a little bit is in performance and battery life. There is about an hour to an hour and a half difference on screen on time between these two devices. The Fold 4, of course, with the more efficient chip, getting more. But in terms of performance, and first of all, if you're getting 4.5 and 5 hours of screen on time with your Fold, with a majority of that when I was using it on the inner display, that's pretty good, right? You know, let's not poo-poo that and say that, oh, this is a horrible device. This is the reason why you're going to trade it in. For most people, that's going to be plenty fine. Is it nice to have the extra peace of mind on the Fold 4 to have that extra battery life? Yeah, it is. But is that a reason why you'd give this up perhaps and have to add $1,000 to go ahead and purchase a Fold 4? No, I don't think so. The other reason why you wouldn't do that is performance. The Snapdragon 865, phenomenal in this. And the inner display has the fluid display, has the AMOLED at 120 hertz. It's really good. It's a snappy experience. Everything loads up perfectly fine. Really, you're going to have no problems with gaming, no problems with using any apps for years to come. So I wouldn't really get bogged down in a performance type battle between these two because they're both fine and they're both going to be excellent. So that's not why you would upgrade. The reason why you would upgrade experience-wise is the software. Now, will Samsung trickle this software experience that they have on the Fold 4 down to the Fold 2 and the Fold 3? I hope so. Because having that dock, having the ability to multitask easily on the Fold 4 with the changes in dimension and the ability to just kind of rip up mail at any point, well, if I do it actually properly, it can lock in there, and have it lock in to any position and get comfortable multitasking. This is a device that I've multitasked on multiple times. Feel comfortable doing it. Love the way that apps work on it and the way that the taskbar works on this. This is a device that I've said it before, I said it a million times, I just used it as a big smartphone. When I would pull up Twitter or something like that, I just use it as a big display. And that's fine, because it's a great experience using it as that. It's everything that you love on a regular smartphone, just larger. So go ahead and do that if you want to keep that experience and you're fine with it. But the added software functionality, when you add that taskbar in, and when you add the multitasking, and the way that they made the device a little bit shorter and a little bit wider, it adds to that feel, and you do feel like this is a wholesale departure from a regular smartphone where this wasn't, where your Fold 2 wasn't. Your Fold 2 is just a big smartphone. This is a tablet functionality, its own thing, which to me justifies the price more than something like a Fold 2. So if you found that you're just using your Fold 2 as a big display and you're happy with that, that's all you really want, then go ahead and keep it because it's going to run fine. But if you found yourself, like me, wanting a bit more, wanting to get a little bit more functionality out of such a big display, you're like, geez, that big display is nice, but you wish there could be more to it, given the form factor, given how much extra you're actually paying, that the Fold 4 is a worthy upgrade. And you could see from the comments of people who have commented on the video when we were talking about the initial review and impressions of the Fold 4. People who had the Fold 2 and did do that pre-order upgrade where you got $1,000 and went ahead and got one of these, you notice it. You look at the specs and you're like, oh, geez, the Snapdragon is a Snapdragon. They're all fast. A few millimeters on the front. Otherwise, it looks like a Fold 3. I'm going to pick up a Fold 3. It's a different experience. It is a wholesale departure in the user experience from one to the other. So don't get bogged down with people saying, oh, it's the same. Oh, they didn't do enough. They didn't upgrade. Let me tell you something. When you change 4 or 5 major things, including the software experience, and you add that up, the sum of those changes is a huge departure in user experience. And at the end of the day, that's to me what the foldables were missing. That's the value added proposition there in why you'd spend $800 more for a foldable as opposed to just getting a regular slab device. Because I love the Fold, I love the idea of the Fold, but before it was just a big smartphone. Which, if you didn't need that, or you found yourself not really caring about that, well, save $800, buy a regular smartphone, a regular flagship. Now they've given you reason to go ahead and spend the extra money, because this is a nice experience. It's extra. It feels like more. You can do more. You can be more productive. If you run a business, I've been loving keeping my YouTube inbox clean by having Outlook and having it spread across the entire display, where I got the messages and I got the message and I can read the entire message and have the whole list and keep my inbox clean. There's a lot going on with this device, the Fold 4. I absolutely think it's worth the upgrade. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.